Incredible moment, Black CEO exposes discrimination by buying jewelry store on the spot. Shocking. Marcus Johnson stepped into the plush jewelry store, glittering displays reflecting a world that vowed to celebrate milestones if you were deemed worthy. As a 35-year-old Black CEO in Atlanta, he often dismantled tech industry barriers, armed with his grandmother's words in his mind, "Hard work brings pride." But today, as he sought the perfect engagement ring for his fiancée, the condescension from employees, their cold stares and thinly veiled remarks hit him squarely, like a punch to the gut. He squeezed his wallet, feeling a gnarled knot tighten in his stomach as voices drifted by, snippets of skepticism questioning his financial standing. Did they see the tailored suit he wore? The company he built from the ground up? Or only the color of his skin? He was no stranger to this dynamic, but the tension today felt edgier, sharper. The diamond setting before him sparkled, yet felt grotesque under the scrutiny, a symbol of everything he was meant to overcome but could not escape. Deep breaths were supposed to ground him, yet they only amplified the racing thoughts. With every passing second, his resolve crumbled under pressure. He questioned if this fight was merely for a ring or an entire legacy. Rays of anger fused with despair. Each dismissal felt like an echo of past injustices, and he felt himself unravel at the seams, fragmented. In this moment, he wasn't just fighting for love, he was embattled against generations of underestimation. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Staring at the gaudy ring with frustration bubbling beneath his skin, a wild idea brushed against his thoughts. He could buy the store. Imagine that. Flip the script on societal ignorance with an utterly outrageous move of ownership. It ignited a fire within him, but was this fight worth it? Would he be seen as a fool or a visionary? Officers of exclusion staked their claim in the sanctum of luxury, and here he was, feasting on the idea of changing the very marrow of it all. The nausea returned as he weighed the impulse, but fueled by his family's history of resilience, he pounced on the moment that might punch back against stares and assumptions. What if his action could create a thriving, inclusive environment instead? But even as adrenaline kicked in, shadows of hesitation loomed large. Tensions tightened in his chest, and an unexpected swell of self-doubt whispered cruelly. What if no one rallied behind him? Would the pushback bind him to the legacy of indignity? Just then, a former employee stepped toward him, eyes blazing, the very weight of resistance shifting along with time in the store. The ground beneath Marcus felt like it was shaking, shifting away from certainty. Anguish flared at this confrontation, his heart racing once more. This wasn't just a personal vendetta, the air was thick with questions of identity and resistance. How do you confront a rooted prejudice without becoming a monster yourself? Gripped by resolve and uncertainty, he could feel the lines drawn, ready to force him toward an irreconcilable choice. What awaited him on this journey of transformation? Would he stand as a champion for change or succumb to undisguised prejudice? The intensity of the moment rushed through Marcus, anchoring him in the chaotic swirl of emotion. His mind raced, grappling with the sudden collision of past experiences and an unpredictable future. He had come here seeking adornment for his fiancée, but now felt thrust into a relentless battle not just for love, but for respect, humanity, and an entire narrative rewrite. The former employee, a young woman named Tanya, stood before him, the defiance in her posture amplifying the electric charge in the air. She hadn't just worked at this store, she had suffered through the same indignities he had. Her voice trembled slightly, but the resolve in her eyes was unwavering as she demanded, "What are you really doing here? You think throwing money around will change the way they see you?" The words cut through Marcus, stinging in their accuracy. He could feel the crowd's gaze prying into him, ones that had already gathered, questioning the audacity of his presence. He opened his mouth to respond but paused. A surge of vulnerability pulled him back, forcing confrontation with the very heart of his motivations. Was this simply about challenging the status quo, or was it a personal crusade against the shadows that haunted him? "What I'm doing here is redefining what this place could mean," he finally managed to say, projecting a calmness he didn't quite feel. "I could buy this store, make it a place where everyone belongs." The statement hung in the air, a bold promise that surged with the adrenaline of hope mingled with doubt. Marcus could feel his heart pounding, matching the mounting uncertainty in the room. Tanya's eyes narrowed, the skepticism morphing into curiosity. "You really believe that ownership can change a heart? These walls have seen years of discrimination, unconscious or otherwise. Money isn't enough to break a chain." The challenge ignited a small flame inside him. "No, it won't be easy," he countered, "but it's a start. It's about laying foundations, creating opportunities. It's about making a statement." As he spoke, doubt lingered, casting a shadow over his conviction. Was he prepared for the risks that came with such a bold step? What if the moment passed, leaving him trapped in a legacy of failed dreams? He examined Tanya's face, reading the need for authenticity behind her hardened exterior. She had spent years adrift in this world, watching the discrimination unfold daily, and here he stood, muddying the intent with momentary luxury. "Inclusive doesn't mean just taking over," she softened slightly, her tone shifting. "It means empowerment. It means seeing people for who they are, not just assets or sales." The tension in her voice invited contemplation, pulling Marcus deeper into introspection about his own corporate journey. He had claimed awards and accolades for his strides in tech, but how many had he actually empowered? The realization struck Marcus like an electric shock. His fight for recognition had left him concentrating on the surface rather than impacting the roots of his community. If he bought this store, he would have to commit to more than business. He would need to lead through example and empathy. He considered the broader implications. What if he incorporated training programs for at-risk youth? How would he approach the very systems that bred discrimination? Time held its breath around him, stretching painfully. He caught Tanya's gaze, and an unwritten bond started to form, two souls skirting the edges of the same struggle. "We could do this together," he proposed, his voice firmer now, eyes locked with hers, respect firmly established. "This isn't just about me. It's about reconstructing a legacy." In that charged moment, the ambition that once flickered timidly ignited into a roaring fire, illuminating his path ahead. Yet, with each flicker of hope came new fears. Could this venture actually succeed, or would it crumble under the weight of the very prejudices he sought to dismantle? As they stood in the hushed tension of the jewelry store, one question remained: had Marcus finally uncovered the depth of his own commitment, or was it just another illusion of progress waiting to unravel? With resolve inching closer to certainty, he needed to confront more than societal norms. He had to confront himself. The impending decision loomed, and with it came the knowledge that he was on the cusp of a true transformation. The time had come to face not just the store's reality but the very essence of who he was to become. What hidden potential did he have yet to discover within the shaggy frontier of leadership, and what would he have to sacrifice to harness it? Marcus took a deep breath, bracing himself for the weight of this decision. He stood before Tanya, the echo of her doubts ringing in his ears alongside the scrutiny of the onlookers. The tension in the air was palpable, forcing him to confront the myriad layers of his ambition. Each heartbeat seemed to chant its own question: was this time different, or would he repeat the mistakes of his past? Empowerment, he echoed in his mind, savoring the term like a fine wine. It held depths he had never drunk from before. He visualized the transformations he could ignite, but visions alone wouldn't suffice. What tangible steps could he take to breathe life into his ideas? "Let's talk specifics," he said, shifting the tone of the conversation. Tanya, relieved by the shift, leaned forward slightly, intrigued. "What does empowerment look like to you?" How can I make this store not just a place to shop, but a hub for growth and opportunity? She considered his words carefully. Training programs are vital, she replied, her eyes shining with a mix of skepticism and hope. But it has to be genuine. We can't just scratch the surface. You'll need to build trust first. Start with community-driven projects. Work with local artists, invite voices into the conversation. The ideas flowed between them, the dialogue creating a rhythm that felt revolutionary and fragile at once. As they spoke, Marcus began to define his vision, transcending mere ownership. He saw how the jewelry store could evolve into a sanctuary, a place where skills could be honed, ideas exchanged, and barriers dismantled. But with each compelling idea that arose, so did the specter of his past actions, board meetings dictated by profit margins, decisions wrapped in self-interest. He felt the weight of hypocrisy pressing atop his shoulders, urging him to lay down the facade of a reformative leader. What if I make mistakes? He asked, his voice dropping slightly. What if I don't get it right? I've only ever competed in spaces that prize numbers and productivity. How do I shift to being genuinely transformative? By being transparent, Tanya replied with conviction. Invite people in. Ask for guidance. Your ignorance doesn't make you unworthy. It's how you respond to it that matters. Lead with vulnerability. With her words, a shift occurred within him. Vulnerability had always felt like a weakness in the corporate world, a surefire way to be left behind in the race for success. But here, it became a tool for connection. Perhaps this was the kind of leadership he yearned to embody. The crowd in the store, initially skeptical, began to lean in, their curiosity piqued by the conversation. Each exchanged glance held potential. They weren't just passive observers anymore, they became the community he wished to engage. I have to let go of the fear of failure, he murmured to himself, a sense of revelation sweeping over him. His career had been marked by a drive for validation. Now, it felt essential to seek collaboration instead. The stakes were higher than personal glory. What can I do right now? He asked Tanya, urgency blooming as ideas began to crystallize. I'm ready to take real steps from this moment forward. Start by listening, she replied softly but firmly, her gaze unwavering. Embrace what this space means to the people who suffered in its shadows. Empower your team, workers, and customers, let their narratives guide you. The weight of her words sank deep into Marcus's bones. He could feel the old armor of ambition crack under the pressure of what could become. It was a leap into the unknown, the kind that could be either liberating or catastrophic. With that thought roiling through his mind, Marcus began to craft an initial action plan. This was not just about buying a store, it was about creating ripples of change, setting an example of leadership forged in sincerity and vulnerability. But would the community truly embrace him? Would he navigate the hurdles ahead without reverting to his previous ways? Standing on the precipice of a new reality, Marcus felt the cool breeze of possibility. At his back, igniting a burning question, could he transform both his life and theirs, or would he falter at the very first misstep? As he locked eyes with Tanya, he knew the time for half measures had passed. Before he could voice his next intention, a familiar face emerged from the crowd, determination etched deep in their expression. The realization struck: is this person an ally or an adversary? Marcus's decision hung in the air, waiting for the next development to unfurl. The familiar face approached with an air of authority, each step purposeful and steady. It was Jordan, a former colleague from Marcus's corporate life, a high-flying executive with a knack for navigating complex negotiations. The sight of him sparked a flare of anxiety within Marcus. They had once been allies in climbing the corporate ladder together, but now, Jordan represented the embodiment of the very culture Marcus sought to escape. "Marcus," Jordan called out, his tone both friendly and invasive. "I was surprised to hear about your sudden shift. Striking out on your own? Bold move." Marcus felt his heart race, caught between acknowledgement and self-doubt. This wasn't the conversation he was ready to engage in. He had just begun to explore a vision, hoping to create something meaningful, and here stood the reminder of his past decisions to play it safe over playing it real. Yes, well, things are changing. I believe this store can be a platform for something greater, Marcus said, trying to keep his voice steady despite the underlying tension. Oh, you mean a community effort? Jordan's smirk was laced with skepticism. You know that kind of altruism only works if it's profitable, right? This area isn't exactly thriving. Have you thought about that? Marcus felt his stomach churn, frustration bubbling beneath his calm facade. Wasn't it precisely that kind of thinking that had stunted his growth before? Jordan, with all due respect, it's not just about profit margins for me anymore, he asserted, his voice firmer than he'd anticipated. It's about building relationships, fostering creativity, and empowering those who need it most. I can't keep chasing numbers and bonuses at the cost of my integrity. Jordan folded his arms and leaned back, feigning nonchalance. That's a pretty lofty ideal. You really think you can change the narrative just like that? What happens when the numbers don't add up? A ripple of doubt washed over Marcus. Jordan's question echoed within him, an insidious reminder of his past insecurities. He had always placed so much value on metrics, convinced they defined worth and success. But Tanya's insistence on vulnerability and connection began to surface in Marcus's mind, anchoring his resolve. The numbers will follow if the people are engaged. I've done the math in my own way, Jordan. Relationships lead to loyalty, and loyalty drives sales. It's time to innovate how we define success. The sincerity in his voice surprised even himself. He realized that this wasn't just a battle of words, it was a reckoning. Marcus was not the same man who had ridden the wave of ambition without regard to community. He was taking a stand, and he could see that even Jordan's confidence began to wane as the conversation unfolded. Okay, but don't pretend it'll be easy. I'm only looking out for you. You might want to stay grounded. Remember who you're dealing with. If you fail, it's not just your reputation at stake. Falling doesn't define me anymore, Jordan. It's how I rise that matters. Marcus met Jordan's gaze, feeling a spark of resilience ignite within him. He was drawing the line. This was a pivotal moment to eradicate the narrative of his past failures. Perhaps confronting Jordan was less about the actual exchange of words and more about confronting his own fears of inadequacy. As tension crackled between them, Marcus felt as though the stakes were now inherently bound to his growth. Would he continue to battle against the shadows of his corporate identity in the face of skepticism, or could he redefine his parameters for what personal success truly meant? The conflict renewed his energy, and he felt ready to battle not only for his new vision but for the very essence of his evolving self. Just then, Tanya stepped in, her voice breaking through Marcus's internal tumult. I believe in your vision, Marcus. And you don't need to justify yourself to anyone, least of all someone who thrives on skepticism. Marcus turned towards her, surprised at how buoyed he felt by her support. The strength of her conviction gave him a jolt. But Jordan's presence remained heavy, an unfinished narrative lurking behind the scenes. With a surge of confidence, Marcus declared, I'm prepared to embrace this challenge, come what may. As he faced Jordan, the air around them thickened with unresolved tension. Was this truly the start of his transformation, or merely the prelude to another misstep? The challenge now lay ahead of him, where the blurred lines between ambition and authenticity would ultimately be tested. And as they continued to lock eyes, Marcus pondered his next move, wondering if the struggle within him was about to reveal deeper truths about who he was and who he could become. Would this confrontation propel him to fulfill his vision, or would fear pull him back into the shadows of his past? The following day dawned bright and clear, but Marcus found himself cocooned in doubt. After his confrontation with Jordan, he thought he would awaken to invigorating resolve. Instead, a lingering anxiety clouded his mind. Questions swirled like leaves caught in a gust of wind. Had he truly made the right choice? Was there merit in the skepticism? He arrived at the store early, hoping the solitude would help clear his thoughts. The small space, filled with shimmering jewelry, felt impossibly weighty this morning. Each piece represented a potential connection, a story yet to unfold, and yet the shadows of insecurity loomed over him. He moved through the aisles, touching the delicate surfaces, trying to ground himself amid the emotional turbulence. Suddenly, the bell above the door jingled, yanking him from his reverie. It was Tanya, her face lit with enthusiasm. "I've been thinking more about our mission," she said, brimming with ideas. "We should start small but impactful. What if we showcased local artisans? We can tell their stories while promoting our brand. Authenticity will resonate." The spark in her voice ignited something in Marcus. Here was a tangible step forward, a bridge between his vision and execution. "Local artisans," he echoed thoughtfully. It was a powerful idea. People are hungry for authenticity. It could deepen our community ties and carve out a niche that big box stores can't replicate. "Exactly." Tanya nodded, validation shining in her eyes. "It's all about connection, isn't it? When people feel emotionally invested, they're more likely to support us. We could even host monthly showcases." Marcus felt a rush of energy. Each word Tanya spoke felt like lifting a weight he hadn't realized was on his shoulders. "Let us draft a plan," he urged, excitement bubbling within him now. "We can reach out to local artists today." As they began sketching ideas, his mind buzzed with possibilities. Pictures of artisans crafting their pieces danced in his imagination. The store wasn't just a business, it could become a platform for underrepresented voices. Yet, an unwelcome thought gnawed at him as he discussed logistics. Would Jordan's words echo again, spreading seeds of doubt during any setbacks? It was a legitimate fear, but it was also an opportunity, his chance to confront that vulnerability head-on. "Tanya," he paused, "I want to be honest. I'm going to face resistance. People might discourage these ideas just as Jordan did. But I can't let their opinions derail us, right?" Tanya looked him square in the eyes. "Absolutely. This is a new path, Marcus. But that's where the magic happens, in the face of adversity. It's how we respond that defines us." Her conviction resonated within him, rekindling his belief. This wasn't merely about overcoming Jordan, it was about embodying resilience and redefining what success looked like on his terms. He would channel the energy from this experience, each challenge would sharpen his resolve rather than diminish it. "Okay, we do this," he declared, a newfound determination crystallizing in his chest. As they finalized plans for their artisan outreach, a sense of purpose washed over him. It was exhilarating. But beneath that excitement, a flicker of anxiety lingered, a reminder that the journey ahead wouldn't be easy. Just as they began discussing marketing strategies, the shop bell rang again. This time it was a customer, an elderly woman who looked at the display with a mix of appreciation and hesitation. She ambled over, and Marcus instinctively stepped forward to greet her. "Welcome. Looking for something special today?" he asked, the encounter shifting his focus back to the present. She turned, eyeing him closely. "Actually, I'm not here for the gem store. I'm here about a rumor that a new owner is looking to bring change. Is it true?" The moment stretched, drawing attention away from their plans. The woman's curiosity felt like an unanticipated test, her gaze holding both hope and suspicion as if she could sense his trepidation. "Yes," he replied, his voice unwavering despite the uncertainty brewing in his chest. "I'm excited about what's to come." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Excited, you say? I hope your excitement doesn't come at the cost of what this place means to people." The air thickened with implications. Was she reflecting the community's skepticism? Here lay an unexpected challenge to be seen not just as a businessman, but as someone committed to preserving authenticity. He had only begun to redefine success, and now he found himself on the precipice of a deeper questioning. As the woman continued her scrutiny, Marcus felt the weight of the moment settle heavily. Would he be able to transform this space into something that honored the past while embracing the future? Each question coursed through him like electric tension, teasing out growth even amid doubt. The foundations of his aspirations were laid down in that conversation, but could he construct the bridge from theory to practice? The realization hit him hard. He was facing the most critical test of all, the necessity to prove his vision wasn't just words but a living reality. And there, with stakes elevated, he realized that his journey was only beginning, filled with uncertainty and potential. Would he rise to the occasion or falter under the pressure of commitment? The elderly woman's gaze clung to Marcus as if she expected him to unravel the secrets of his intentions with one decisive answer. As the silence lingered, he felt the weight of possibility pressing down on him. This was more than just jewelry, it was legacy, history embedded in every shimmering piece. How could he honor that while simultaneously forging a new path? "Let me assure you," he began, struggling to find words that would resonate not just with her but with the spirit of the community he was stepping into. "Change doesn't mean losing the essence of what we have here. It means elevating it, breathing new life into it while keeping its soul intact." He watched her expression shift slightly, as though the cracks in her skepticism began to surface. "We want to retain the stories that matter," he continued, the fire of conviction igniting again. Her response might influence not just her, but everyone around her. "Our goal is to create connections between artisans and our customers, allowing everyone to share in the beauty of their craftsmanship." The woman studied him carefully, eyes narrowing. "Words are easy, young man. It's actions that define commitment. I suppose we'll see how it unfolds." "Exactly," he said, emboldened by her challenge. "That's what makes this so exciting. We are creating a dialogue, a collaboration. I want to involve the community, I want feedback and suggestions. What do you think we could do to honor the tradition while inviting innovation?" Her posture softened ever so slightly, but doubt lingered. "You'll have to thread that needle carefully. Community support can be as fickle as it is loyal." As she drifted away to continue browsing, Marcus turned back to Tanya, their strategic discussion momentarily sidelined. "Did you hear that? Thread the needle. That's exactly what we need to do. It's about balancing respect for the past with a vision for the future." Tanya, leaning over a sketch, bit her lip, absorbing those words. "You know, it's going to take unique communication skills. You have to convince people they can trust you. It may mean facing more scrutiny from the community." "Right," he agreed, anxiety sparking in him. "If I'm to present a different vision, I need a clear narrative. I can't let Jordan's words paralyze me anymore." Marcus's grip on the drafting paper tightened as determination spread through him like wildfire. He needed to create tangible change. The first showcase was on the horizon, and perhaps it could serve as a litmus test for their concept. The success or failure of it would unveil his ability to connect, communicate, and cultivate this relationship with the community. "Let's brainstorm," Marcus suggested, pulling a notepad toward them. "What are the key elements we want to highlight? We can create a focused narrative around our first artisan." As they bounced ideas back and forth, he felt an inner shift, his focus sharpening. He no longer saw a collection of gemstones but a tapestry woven with stories of individual craftsmanship. Each artisan became a vital part of the store's evolving identity, not mere suppliers of goods but co-creators in this journey. Yet beneath his burgeoning confidence, doubt still whispered in the recesses of his mind like an unwelcome guest. He had seen firsthand the impact of an outsider's perspective in the business world. Would enthusiasm be enough to quell concerns? What if the community's sentiments mirrored the woman's? "Marcus," Tanya interrupted his thoughts, placing her hand on his arm. "You seem preoccupied again. It's like you're wrestling with an invisible force. What is going on?" He hesitated, the truth tinged with vulnerability. "I want to create a space that holds the weight of tradition while still being bold enough to branch into the future. But, those assumptions can bury good intentions. What if you approached it like a conversation instead of a sale? Tanya suggested, vibrant again. You can introduce artisans, tell their stories, and allow the community to engage. They'll feel ownership. Nodding slowly, Marcus mulled it over. Yes, ownership. By making it about them, it brings the authenticity right to the forefront. It's not just about a new store, it's a reinvention of how we interact with each piece of jewelry and the artisans behind it. As they crafted a roadmap for their first showcase, an unexpected alarm rippled through the store. Joyce, a former employee and now local craftsman, stormed through the door, visibly distressed. Marcus, we need to talk, she exclaimed. Her urgency pierced through the optimistic haze. The air thickened with tension again, and Marcus felt his heart race. What now, he thought, as he prepared to confront yet another challenge that could either foster his growth or extend the shadow of doubt. The door to uncertainty had swung wide open, and he had to step through yet again. What was it that Joyce harbored that could possibly derail his emerging vision? Marcus braced himself as Joyce approached, her brow furrowed and eyes slightly glistening, a cocktail of emotions brewing beneath her steely exterior. He could sense the storm of conflict just waiting to erupt between them. With the stakes at an all-time high, he found himself at a crossroads. He could either step back, defend his vision, and shield himself from her impending storm, or he could embrace the uncomfortable vulnerability and allow the conversation to flow, revealing deeper truths. Joyce, he started, attempting to settle the tension with a calmness he didn't feel. What is going on? People are talking. They're worried about your plans, Marcus. This store, this legacy, it's not just business to them. It's personal, she replied, her voice heavy with a mix of urgency and frustration. As he processed her words, Marcus couldn't help but recall his own mounting doubts. Was he truly prepared to navigate these waters? He looked deep into Joyce's eyes, searching for a flicker of understanding and potentially, for validation. I know it's personal. I see it as an honor and a responsibility. Honoring tradition isn't just a catchphrase, Joyce continued, her voice rising, it's about genuine respect. People feel like their voices have been silenced. It's more than just selling jewelry. It's about preserving their livelihoods. His heart raced as her words cut through his aspirations like a sharp blade. It was a growing realization that he perhaps hadn't entirely grasped before. The community was more than simply a market. They were individuals with stories, struggles, and traditions. Could he authentically weave himself into that narrative without losing himself in the process? Marcus, you have to understand, she urged, her voice softening as if she sensed his inner turmoil. There's a fear that outsiders, people like you, come in, change everything, and we're left without a voice. I fear you may inadvertently strip away what makes this place unique. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck, a physical manifestation of his internal conflict. But I want to elevate those stories, Joyce. I don't want to erase them. I want people to feel proud to tell those stories in a new way. But, how do we know that will happen? You don't know the depth of these connections. Her voice was almost imploring now, transitioning from adversarial to constructive. Telling their stories will take more than your intentions, it requires trust, and you're an outsider stepping into a long-standing history. His chest tightened, a feeling like dread mixed with a dawning awareness of his own limitations. You're right. I have to do more than just show up with ideas. This needs to be a partnership, not a takeover. Joyce studied him closely, as if searching for sincerity in his eyes. The intensity of the moment forced Marcus to confront what he hadn't allowed himself to face until that very second. The real challenge was not merely operational but intertwined with the community's emotional fabric. Am I ready to adapt? Can I make this space that intertwines innovation and authenticity? The questions gnawed at him, critical yet uncomfortable. After a moment of silence, Joyce nodded, sensing a subtle shift in Marcus's demeanor. It's about weaving a new tapestry with the existing threads, Marcus. That demands humility and patience. Then that's what I'll do, he affirmed decisively, even as a flicker of apprehension lingered. I want to consult, collaborate, co-create. I want no part of imposing anything. As the resolve settled in his chest like pieces of a puzzle locking into place, he felt buoyed by Joyce's cautious acceptance. Good, she replied, relaxing slightly. But talk is cheap. You'll have to show them. As the conversation shifted to specific artisans Marcus needed to reach out to, a surge of determination bloomed within him. Each artisan represented not just a sale, but a transformational encounter that could instill trust and shared identity in his vision. Yet, as they delved deeper into their plans, Marcus's phone pinged with a text message. He glanced at it only to see a familiar name, Jordan. We need to discuss the upcoming showcase. Let's aim for a prototype. Different ideas? A mix of insistent thoughts flooded his mind. Could he remain true to his newfound commitment to authenticity while executing a polished vision to satisfy Jordan? The excitement of revitalizing those traditional stories wrestled with the pragmatic needs of an investor who saw profit first and community second. Caught between honoring Joyce's perspective and Jordan's harsh pragmatism, he felt a familiar swell of anxiety return. This wasn't just about the showcase. It was a litmus test for who he would ultimately become: an advocate for genuine connection or a mere facilitator of business. As another pivotal crossroad appeared before him, the echoes of doubt surrounded him once again, louder than ever. How would he balance these conflicting expectations, all while striving towards something greater? The moment hung in the air, thick with anticipation. What breakthrough or breakdown awaited him next? The hum of the cafe surrounded Marcus as he looked at the message from Jordan again. The weight of the situation intensified, each notification drawing him deeper into a dilemma that seemed to expand in every direction. He couldn't ignore the urgency in Jordan's request, nor could he dismiss the stark realities that Joyce had laid bare. Taking a deep breath, Marcus replied with a short message, "I'll call you later." He needed time to think, to sort through the cacophony of conflicting voices, both internal and external. He didn't just want to renovate a store, he was being challenged to reshape his very identity as a leader, a figure that was meant to bridge between opulence and authenticity. He glanced out the window, watching life continue unabated outside. Children laughed as they sprinted down the street, traders haggled in stalls, and friends shared moments over coffee. It seemed simple, their reality a tapestry woven from experiences, heartbreaks, and triumphs, but it felt painfully distant. Marcus? Her voice pierced his thoughts, and he turned to Joyce, who was now seated across from him, an open notebook resting before her. You seem lost. We've only scratched the surface today. He couldn't deny the truth. The tension, Joyce. I feel it pulling in two opposing directions. I want to hold this space, contain it, but then he hesitated, the words threatening to slip from his grasp. What if by trying to do that, I lose the very essence of what it means to be part of this community? Joyce arched an eyebrow, recognizing the struggle in his voice. What if you redefine that essence? You can spark a dialogue, but you have to be prepared for the fallout it might create. Am I meant to be that person? The one who stirs the pot? He exhaled, frustration mingling with the anxiety that had become his constant companion since the takeover. Yes, if you want to lead. It's about understanding what it means to engage meaningfully, to foster collaboration that feels genuine. Her certainty nudged at his resolve. But his mind flickered back to the expectations Jordan had set. That sounds great on paper, fostering collaboration, but what if it comes at the expense of financial stability? Now you're thinking like an outsider yourself, she shot back, her blue eyes fierce yet clear. If you don't actively engage, you risk creating undercurrents of resentment. It may initially err on the side of profitability, but at what cost? He felt the tension weave a tighter knot in his stomach. You make it sound so easy, reminding me that it's about collaboration. But what if the community doesn't want to collaborate with me? What if I'm seen as yet another disruptor? Then you do what you have to do. Forge the narrative you want, Marcus. Push through the discomfort. From what I see, you possess the requisite knowledge, but it's the heart that needs polishing. The intensity in her eyes made him sit straighter. Do you really believe that? That I can shape this into something greater, despite the external chaoses? Joyce nodded, that spark of faith igniting a trepidation deep within him. Yes, but only if you're willing to confront both your fears and others' expectations. That's where growth hides, at the intersection of vulnerability and courage. Marcus took a moment to digest her words, letting them seep in like a bomb. Perhaps he didn't have to have all the answers right away. Maybe the act of reaching out, of being willing to connect, was enough for the first step. His phone buzzed again, but this time it was a call from Jordan. The moment stretched long like a taut string, ready to snap with tension. Did he refuse to answer, allowing doubt to paralyze him, or did he take that next leap? As he deliberated, a revelation hit him. This was about more than business negotiation, it was a test of his own beliefs. With renewed conviction, he pressed the answer button. The words of Joyce echoed in his mind, "Forge the narrative." A new chapter awaited him, filled with possibilities, but first, there lay the choice of how he would respond to the voice on the other end. Would he veer towards caution or set the tone for authenticity? The stakes had never been this personal. As Marcus lifted the phone to his ear, the world around him receded into a blur. He could feel his pulse quickening, every heartbeat echoing the uncertainty he faced. "Marcus," Jordan's voice came through, infused with authority. "Thanks for picking up. We need to talk about the strategy for the store. There's been significant pushback from our investors regarding your approach." The tension in Marcus's chest tightened as he inhaled sharply. "I understand. I've been mulling over how to address community concerns while also ensuring financial viability." "Community concerns?" Jordan echoed, skepticism creeping into his tone. "This is a business, Marcus. You can't let personal emotions cloud the real issues. We need to secure profitability first and foremost." Marcus felt an urge to protest, to defend his vision. "But if I push solely for profits, I risk alienating the community we want to serve. Is that really sustainable?" "Marcus, you need to understand your role here," Jordan pressed. "Your priority must be to uphold the financial health of the company. Innovation and collaboration don't fill the registers. Concerns about feelings won't help us meet our bottom line." His confidence wavered, a nagging doubt creeping in. Was he so naive as to envision a collaboration that could coexist with profits? The reflection Joyce's words had sparked felt dimmed in the harsh light of Jordan's pragmatism. "I respect that," he finally replied, his voice steadier than he felt. "But I believe we can create a balance. We have to engage the community meaningfully, and in doing so, I think we can cultivate not only loyalty but also a profitable business model." There was a protracted silence on the other end, and Marcus could almost hear Jordan's gears turning. "I get that you feel strongly about this, but the recent numbers show we're losing traction. Investors expect change and quick returns. Don't get lost in idealism. Focus on how we can turn this around. That's the only way we'll keep funding flowing." Jordan's dismissive tone resonated within him like a klaxon. It pushed him to confront something deeper, his cautious inclination to play it safe versus the radical leader he aspired to become. As he scanned the cafe, filled with laughter and warmth, a surge of clarity washed over him. He thought back to Joyce's penetrating insights about vulnerability and courage. Every choice down this path would demand his resolve to embrace risk, not merely to appease investors but to redefine the narrative he sought to create. "Let me suggest something," Marcus said, his determination setting in. "What if I organize a community meeting? We can transparently discuss our objectives while showcasing our commitment to the area. It isn't just about numbers, it's about building trust." The silence that followed felt heavy, and he could sense Jordan weighing the proposal. "I don't see how that generates immediate results," he finally replied, reluctance dripping from his words. Maybe not immediately, Marcus allowed. But we need to invest in relationships if we want long-term success. What makes for a healthy bottom line? It's about connecting with the people, being a part of their story. There's potential here, Jordan. I'm willing to meet you halfway, but I need you to trust this vision. I'll think about it, Jordan said finally, though the hesitation remained. But don't think for a second I'll back down from the financial goals we've set. As they ended the call, the weight of that conversation pressed heavily on Marcus's shoulders. He felt dizzy, teetering at the edge of a precipice. His commitment to authenticity clashed with pragmatic approaches to business. He realized now that taking risks wasn't simply a matter of strategy, it was a reflection of who he was as a leader. This wasn't just about meeting quotas or investor expectations. It was about reshaping his identity. Marcus felt the resolve building within him, like the wind before a storm. He knew he had to act quickly, he needed to initiate that community conversation soon. The potential for growth stretched before him, presenting opportunities to bridge that chasm between profit and purpose. With a newfound clarity of purpose, he grabbed his notebook and began jotting down ideas for the meeting. Each word breathed life into his vision, affirming that he had the capacity to forge connections that were both authentic and beneficial. Yet, as his pen flowed across the pages, a gnawing doubt crept back in. Was this vision too ambitious? Did he have the courage to stand firm in facing pushback, whether from investors or the community's skepticism? Resolute, he set his notebook down, awareness gripping him like an impending storm. He needed to brace himself for the confrontation that lay ahead, not just with external forces but deep within himself. Stepping into this world of leadership wasn't merely about maintaining a business, it was about embarking on a journey of self-discovery. As he considered the ramifications of his next moves, the question echoed in his mind: was he ready to embrace the implications of true leadership? With a sharp breath, he turned to the window, watching the fading day. The winds of change were stirring, and he would have to face them head-on. What awaited him wasn't just a chance to redefine a business, it was a personal trial that would reshape him irrevocably. And as he gathered his thoughts, the deeper challenge loomed before him. Was he prepared to face not just external opposition but the internal battles that would inevitably arise? The moment of truth was approaching. As Marcus prepared for the community meeting, a nervous energy coursed through him. Gone were the days of simply pursuing profit margins, he was on the brink of something monumental, where the intersection of ambition and accountability would forge a new narrative. He had envisioned this moment multiple times, yet nothing compared to the tangible weight of expectation resting upon his shoulders. The walls of the jewelry store, a legacy woven from the voices of its past, seemed to pulse with anticipation. Together with Tanya and Joyce, they transformed the space into a welcoming environment, adorned with local art and stories of artisans. Each detail mattered, reflecting the sincerity of their mission to create connections, not just transactions. The vision was palpable, yet the shadows of doubt still danced in Marcus's mind. What if the community rejected him? What if Jordan's warnings about financial viability held more truth than he wished to admit? But he squashed those thoughts, reminding himself that vulnerability was part of this journey. Engaging the community meant facing their concerns head-on, and he felt ready. As the clock ticked closer to the meeting, the store grew populated with familiar faces and fresh ones alike. There were whispers, a blend of skepticism and curiosity. Marcus glanced at Tanya and Joyce, who nodded with encouragement, igniting a spark of confidence. Taking a deep breath, he approached the podium, his heart racing but determination crystal clear. Thank you all for coming today. I understand that change brings uncertainty, and I want to address that directly. This jewelry store isn't just a business, it's a part of our community, and it's my commitment to honor that legacy as we evolve together. The murmurs quieted, and he pressed on, channeling his thoughts. I recognize the fear of losing what has made this place essential to you. It's more than its glittering displays, it's about family, tradition, and trust. With each word, he could feel the tension begin to shift, a collective exhale as he acknowledged their concerns. "I'm here to engage with you. I want to hear your stories, understand your needs, and expand this space into something that genuinely reflects our shared values." The sincerity in his voice resonated, but there was still a decision looming, poised to tip the balance between acceptance and rejection. A voice from the crowd, a middle-aged man wearing a weathered leather jacket, spoke up. "What makes you think we should trust you? We've seen many come and go, promises aren't worth much without action." Marcus met his gaze, recognizing the skepticism intertwined with truth. "Trust is built over time, and I acknowledge that I have to earn it. I may be new here, but I'm committed to acting with integrity. This will be a collaborative effort. I want you to hold me accountable. The success of this venture will lie in our ability to support one another." Another voice chimed in, this one from a young woman. "What specific initiatives do you have in mind? Will you really invite us into this process, or is it just talk?" Grateful for their questions, Marcus responded with enthusiasm. "Yes. We want to establish training programs for local artisans, showcase your crafts, and even host events to bring people together, celebrate creativity, and share experiences. This store will serve as a platform for local artists to thrive while we connect deeply with one another." As he spoke, he noticed heads nodding, the room warming to his vision. A spark ignited within him, a flicker of genuine connection forming in the air. The challenge that had once loomed felt surmountable, and he sensed a shift toward unity, and the community welcoming an unexpected ally. Taking a moment to let it sink in, he invited everyone to share their thoughts, hoping to foster a real dialogue. The feedback poured in, ideas mixed with concerns and enthusiasm. In that moment, Marcus could feel the essence of leadership shift within him. It was never about retaining control but about sharing power, creating opportunities for others to step into their own light. As the meeting continued, the crowd became more animated. Voices mingled, sharing stories of hope and resilience. The rich tapestry of the community was unveiled before him, a living testament of courage. Marcus stood there, awash in warmth, realizing he wasn't merely stepping into the role of owner, he was becoming a steward of their narrative, weaving himself into the legacy of the store. By the meeting's end, the room buzzed with excitement. People began exchanging contact information, discussing potential opportunities for collaboration. Overwhelmed by the shift from skepticism to engagement, Marcus felt gratitude swell within him. He was no longer bound by the shadows of doubt or external validation. He had embraced the essence of his identity, forging connections that went beyond mere transactions. As they wrapped up, Tanya approached him, eyes sparkling with pride. "You did it, Marcus. You turned skepticism into participation. They see you now, not as an outsider, but as someone who genuinely cares." In the days that followed, community members began to flock to the store, not just to shop, but to see what this newfound vision meant for them. Marcus himself felt invigorated, resolute about the path he had chosen. No longer was he wrestling with self-doubt, he had rooted his identity in compassion, commitment, and a clear vision. Even in those moments of uncertainty with Jordan loomed, Marcus felt unshakable in his pursuit of purpose. He would balance profit with authenticity, proving that ethical leadership could indeed secure a sustainable future. The journey wasn't just about business anymore, it was about legacy. It was about growing through adversity and celebrating shared humanity, leaving behind the old notion of success tied only to financial gains. Perhaps for Marcus, this was the pinnacle of triumph, a substantive shift toward a vision that merged ambition with authenticity. There, amid the glimmering jewels, he had discovered the real treasure himself, redefined not by the limitations of his past, but by the possibilities of an inclusive future. The community had welcomed him. He had transformed from a solitary figure into an integral part of a thriving tapestry interwoven with stories, ambition, and hope. This was the moment of personal triumph he had worked so hard to achieve, the triumph of breaking down barriers and building bridges instead. He had arrived not only at a definition of leadership but at the genesis of transformation both for himself and for those around him. Now, as the doors continued to swing open, Marcus felt deeply satisfied. He had emerged not only as a CEO but as a changemaker. This was his story, but it was also theirs, a testament to what could be achieved together. Embracing the journey ahead, he realized it was only a beginning, one rooted in connection, purpose, and legacy. And that journey, with its uncertainties and triumphs, beckoned him forth. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories that explore personal triumph over adversity. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and theories about this transformative ending. Your voice matters. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let the world know how resilience and commitment reshape lives.